What if? What if I was an evil pumpkin, my friends? Time to take over the world! Hey everyone, JHBL with a brand new review talking about Marvel's What Ifs. And I gotta say, I'm gonna be having a fun discussion on this, but I'm gonna be kind of pretty critically harsh on this, but I'm gonna try my best not to be that rude nor condescending whatsoever, because my only intention is to give my own honest thoughts and what I do know of. Especially, it looks like they're going to be using the MCU movies for the most part, but I do hope they will touch upon on Elseworld like storylines that don't affect the canonical Marvel storyline whatsoever. All right, so let's start off with on how it's being established by simply saying that, like, we get this person being called the Watcher, who is telling us all this what if scenarios, all these what if storylines that are taking place in supposed alternate universes or parallel universes. We start off by having the Captain America, the first Avengers movie being turned into a what if scenario. Like, what if Agent Carter became the captain herself? And as far as I know, she's not calling herself Captain America by all means. She's just being only called Captain Carter, which I think is most appropriate. And I think this premise is handled kind of rough around the edges, but I don't think this episode was that inherently bad or that awful, at least towards me, because I thought it was actually alright, a-okay for the most part. I just really think it needs to be fleshed out a little bit more, and especially for me to be invested with Captain Carter's character when it comes to her being a hero, because I'm not seeing that much flaws, not that much faults or mistakes coming from her, because she's doing everything at ease and so smooth as a hero for the most part. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm too crazy about that. I mean, like, yeah, she's kicking ass and whatever, but I want to be invested in her character rather than just like looking cool and fighting for what is right. I want to be invested in her personality when it comes to this what if scenario. So yeah, I think they should have just fleshed her out a little bit more. And sadly, this episode, actually each episode is 30 minutes, so the first two episodes that I'm going to be talking about already has this issue. Like, apparently for something that is 30 minutes, they feel more like 12 minutes because it's that very fast paced. I don't know why it comes out that way. It's so odd, but oh well, what can you do with that, right? So then I do get to see that Captain Carter is being dependable. She's relying on both Steve Rogers and Tony Stark's father. So I think it's really nice seeing that Mr. Stark, who I'm going to be calling as that because Tony is not present in that time period, okay? Because remember, this is supposed to be like the first Captain America movie, except like being Captain Carter instead. So yeah, he decided to build an oldies style war machine. Of course, it's not being called that, but I'm calling it that because that's what it is to me, for Steve Rogers to use. And I think that's pretty zany and wacky, and I kind of pretty much approve of that, and it was pretty nicely utilized as a very good advantage, and especially, definitely trying to be its own niche by not like having a Winter Soldier for like for the present timeline, because you don't get to see Barnes getting his arm ripped whatsoever. You're not going to see like Steve Rogers becoming Winter Soldier at all, because it looks like they want to tell a different story to be taking place in its own storyline. So I think they're handling that a little bit well, but at the same time, it's still kind of rough around the edges. So as far as I know, the episode is a-okay for the most part. It's all right. I don't think it's that inherently bad, but I'm not calling it that good either, because like I had some minor issues with it. Also, I don't have that much of an issue when it comes to Captain Carter's design. I think it looks kind of fine-ish to me. You need to remember, we're watching a 3D animated show, and for 3D animation, it's not that well animated. I mean, I think it's somewhat fine, I guess. I just think they should have gone with a different approach. It's just that, like, I know for a fact that we've seen worse 3D animations, but I know for a fact we've seen better 3D animations. It's like in between, you know? But, oh well. Now, moving on from that, onto episode 2, we get, what if T'Challa becomes, I am not calling him Star-Lord. There, we already have issue number 1 straight off the bat, because this, already creates its own plot hole, right off the bat, or plot holes, because, there were, yeah, I'm going to have to explain this very quickly. So, considering that we're using the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, people need to remember that, like, Peter Quill's mother, you know, Mrs. Quill calls her own son my little Star-Lord. So, however these other characters are calling T'Challa Star-Lord does not make any sense whatsoever, and that he should have been called Star Prince, and that, heck, even the character himself said his own words that, like, don't need to call me Lord. I'm very uncomfortable by that name. So I'm like, why even call him Star-Lord? And especially not even explaining why you're even calling him that to begin with. So I just already find that as an issue. You may want to call it like, oh, it's just a minor detail or nitpick. No, it's an issue. All right. It created its own plot hole. So I'm calling it for what it is. So I apologize if I'm coming across as rude or condescending in this, but I'm calling it out for what it is. It's not that handled well at all. And heck, ladies and gents, I did an oopsie. So when I was trying to edit, apparently I couldn't make it much more quite clear. So let me just paraphrase this for the next following terms what I was trying to say. So yeah, the very worst aspect coming from episode 2 on how T'Challa is being explored and adventuring into outer space for the most part. I say this with a grain of salt because, you know, the guy who basically mentors Peter Quill, well, in this here, of course he has to send out his 2 guys, right? I'm calling them 2 idiots because apparently, like, they describe Peter Quill as every other human being ever. Oh, he's got the 2 ears, he got the 2 holes on his face. They all look alike to us, and I'm like, what? And then, of course, the guy who sent them literally shows a hologram of how Kid Peter looks like. T'Challa doesn't mind it because he wants to explore anyways in outer space. I just think it was kind of pretty dumb that, like, I'm sorry. I'm already having frustration levels up to here with this episode. I really am. Now, moving on from that, is that, like, we get to see a little bit more plot holes at hand because, like, they're not explaining that well in good detail on how Thanos became that much of a good guy. Heck, I'm calling him casual Thanos because he's basically a fusion cross of both Homer Simpson and Drax, who are just calling himself Thanos for some reason. You know, and it just really takes me out of it. And just that you know, this entire episode is being very casual to the very level that it just really takes me out of it, but I still want to give it a benefit of the doubt, and yet I still don't think it should have worked out this well at all. It just comes across as very odd and kind of jarring. It really does. And the other thing is that, like, again, they don't even explain how things became that much good. I mean, like, they said something happened, right? But they don't even show, like, remotely a flashback or explain that well in good detail on why Thanos turned over a new leaf, other than just being what is just said. And I'm like, just don't say it, show it, give us some details. I think that is very damn important when you're trying to tell a what-if story, and especially using the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, for crying out loud. I think this should have been a little bit more longer than 30 minutes. Oh, but then again, these first 2 episodes were that too fast paced. So even if it was like 40 or 1 hour, I'm pretty sure it'll feel more like under an hour. So whatever. Whatever. But I will give credit where credit is due. The voice actor for T'Challa, that is the likes of Chadwick Boseman, may the guy rest in peace, did very damn well on his delivery. So good for him. And as far as I know, he's now in a better place, right? And also, let me mention the other type of voice acting just to let people clear. Yeah, while they did bring in some MCU actors to voice act for to return their specific roles, there's going to be other actors being swapped out by different VAs, which will, some of them will be a hit or miss. They will either be very bad or kind of weak or just A-okay, or that, they're doing just fine. So just bear with me on that. With episode 1, the voice acting was a complete mixed bag. Episode 2, at least it was a little better, I guess, right? But luckily, again, Chadwick Boseman did pretty well for the most part, especially with the guy who was voice acting as Howard the Duck. I really do appreciate seeing a little bit more interaction with Howard the Duck. We've always seen him in the freaking cameos in the MCU. I'm glad they're finally talking with him. I was actually hoping and kind of excited if he was going to be the Rocket Raccoon of the group, but no, they just wasted the guy. Really? I mean, don't worry, he's not killed or anything. He's just locked up in a room. Come on, guys, why waste that opportunity? At least with episode 1, at least I got something out of it by being zany. You cannot do it with this? Whatever. And then, of course, I get to see Peter Quill dancing at a Dairy Queen. Apparently he works there, but then his D-bag of a father known as Ego shows up. I really hated him when it comes to Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I really do. But as far as I know this episode was pretty bad. Yeah, episode 1 was just okay, and we get a bad episode. Come on, Marvel, what it is? Work with me here, damn it. Give me a decent episode. Oh, you did? Oh, I thank you when it comes to episode 3. Heck yeah, yes. Episode 3, I don't have that much issues with it. And when it comes to this sort of scenario, it's using Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk 2008. They basically confirmed that movie is essentially canon for the MCU, so I appreciate that. But of course, they had to switch out the Edward Norton looking Bruce Banner by using the Mark Ruffalo Bruce Banner. All right, so I'm like, it makes sense. So still kind of trying to be consistent there, and also of course using the first Thor movie to tell this storyline that is apparently killing the our very own team that is the Earth's mightiest heroes, the Avengers. But I should say this right now, that Captain America, he's still technically alive, but he's frozen. So he is safe. The other ones, whatsoever, though, when it comes to Tony Stark being Iron Man, Hawkeye, Thor, Hulk, and even Black Widow, they're getting killed off one by one by someone that they don't even know of. But yeah, they were playing it as a mystery, and it was that very much investing. I think the only issue I have was the back-to-back fight sequence, and especially that it's in 3D animation, it looked a little bit sluggish than fluid, if you ask me. But considering for what the story was going for, I can let it slide, most definitely so. But yeah, it was a very enticing, investing episode to watch without that much bad issues here and there. I think they delivered it very well, and I hope to see more improvement from that than the last 2 episodes we got. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still like the first episode, but man, episode 2 put a bad taste in my mouth. At least we still got like a little, good voice acting, I guess, right? But in episode 3, it was really damn decent, or even close to good. All right, and especially how it ended, I'm like, I want a part 2 of that episode. I want to still see more of that storyline, all right? Because I really like that a lot. But yeah, what do I remotely think about is the 3D animation as a whole, though. I feel like it's in between on, like, we have the good animation on the top when it comes to 3D, and bad 3D animation on the bottom. So it's like stuck in between there, because I'm not too fond on how it looks in terms of its quality. I think it might be just the art style, who knows, but hopefully the 3D animation will improve in the upcoming episodes, all right? And speaking of which, I do hope one of those upcoming episodes do touch upon on, not just the MCU movies, by essentially using them, by spinning it as a what if story, but hopefully we'll use the comic books to tell the what if stories, because we do get to see a tiny glimpse of that Marvel zombie, which I gotta be honest, I'm not too big on the whole Marvel zombie stuff whatsoever. If there was a Marvel vampire stuff, I would definitely want to watch that. Better give me a Marvel vampire, and I am set to go, damn it. So yeah, what do you guys all think about this? Which one was your favorite episode so far? And if you feel like that you disagree on me on some certain areas, let me know in the comments below, and let's have a very civilized discussion. This has been JXBL saying off right now. Later.